Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot, and I'm back today with another video, and this is probably just a shortened version of what I would normally do every month, which is my what have I been up to, what have I been doing type video, looking at decks I've used, books I've read, you know, general stuff like that. And really there's not a great deal to say on that front this month. I've not really read any books particularly. I've been finding it quite difficult to concentrate. I have been listening to an audiobook. I've been listening to Notes from a Small Island by Bill Bryson. I've just needed light relief. I've needed a bit of humour, something easy to listen to, and I love Bill Bryson's books. I think his Walk in the Woods is one of my favourite books ever, so Notes from a Small Island is all about his travels around the UK and all the various sort of little idiosyncrasies of the British, I suppose. So I find that quite funny. So I've been listening to that. I've been watching a fair amount of TV. I haven't not really been doing a great deal of much, really. I think if you listen to one of my more recent videos, you'll know that I'm in a new relationship, and that really has been taking up a lot of my time and energy, not in a bad way, but I suppose I don't do well with change. You know, I'm not very good with change, and it takes me a long time to adjust to changes in my life and feel like I've got the extra energy for other things and other people in my life. I tend to, I think with anything emotional, I tend to get quite overwhelmed quite quickly and quite easily. So while it's good and it's positive, it's challenging for me. So I've been sort of really not doing a great deal of other things, I suppose, really, that I would find challenging as well. So whatever I've been watching on TV or reading, it's all been very mindless, silly, light-hearted, just light relief really for me, stuff that takes me out of myself, and yeah, stuff that's soothing, I suppose, to me, really. So and also for April, I'd been quite apprehensive about April because the tarot card reading I did for myself at the beginning of the year, where I drew a card for every month for, I'll show you here, for April, as you can see, I drew the Three of Swords, which, considering I'm in a new relationship, you know, was a worry to me. This wasn't the Rider-Waite-Smith Three of Swords that I drew. It was the one in the Tarot of the Abyss, and it's the alternate version. So it's not the real heartache card or mental distress card. It was more about, as I've written here, more about finding harmony between opposing forces and having the ability to discern and make good choices. And that really did come up a lot for me in April. It really did. I think we had the eclipse, didn't we? We also had Mercury retrograde, and I was really feeling it. You know, I was really feeling a lot of those energies. The card was scaring me, and I think just being in a new relationship, it was obviously triggering for me and bringing up things from my past, hang-ups that I have, insecurities that I have. You know, it's all quite triggering, isn't it, really, when you're in a new relationship? You know, there's a lot of things that you're not sure about. There's a lot of bridges to cross, isn't there? There's a lot of new bridges to cross and new things to get over. And yeah, I've been quite overwhelmed and really quite struggling with it at times. So I haven't got, as I said, I haven't got a great deal to say about my practice. I'm continuing this month to work with all my nature-based decks, which I showed you at the beginning of April. So I don't really have any new decks to show you. I think I'm up to date with the new decks that I've got. I think the last 2 decks that I showed you were the Nature Spirit Tarot. Let's just get those. It was this one, wasn't it? The Nature Spirit Tarot by Jean-Marie Herzl. That arrived this month, as did the Druid Plant Oracle by Philip and Stephanie Carr. And I haven't really worked with those decks as yet. I haven't particularly even worked with many of my Oracle decks this month. I've been looking at them, flicking through them, reading them. You know, they're things that I find quite soothing to do, to just sit and look through them and think about things, because I love plants. I love botanicals, herbs, flowers, trees, you know, all of that. So so I've enjoyed sort of sitting and looking and studying and researching and thinking and pondering about all of these things, but I've not really been using them in any kind of therapeutic fashion, I suppose, or developmental fashion with my tarot cards. And actually the deck that I've kind of got stuck on this month, I've been using it for about 3 weeks now for my daily pulls, has been the Landscape Tarot, which is the cards that you see in front of you. It's this box here, edited by Francesca Mattioni and illustrations by Yossi Mori by Vivida. And it's such a cool deck. This is the first time that I've really used it in any kind of serious fashion, I suppose, for my daily pulls to reflect on. And it's been quite eye-opening, I think, for me, really. And very, very accurate, actually, because the 4 cards that I've got in front of you here, I must have pulled the Queen of Cups in the last 3 weeks. I must have pulled that card every other day, sometimes every day. Also, the Page of Cups has come up a fair bit, and they're beautiful cards. They're just gorgeous, aren't they? Look at them. I love the progression of them. And for me, they've been so very relevant, particularly the Queen of Cups, because although this is a beautiful card, you know, the Queen of Cups is compassionate and sensitive and intuitive and all of those gorgeous things. But for me, there's always the darker side of the Queen of Cups, that sort of emotional overwhelm, where the Queen of Cups can become, well, what's the word? What word do I want to give it? That it's emotional overload, isn't it? Where, you know, to me, the Queen of Cups, when she's in her shadow aspects, is overly emotional. She's overly sensitive. She's tearful, moody, has mood swings. You know, there's an element of hormones for me in the Queen of Cups, and I've really been feeling that just recently. I'm 55 and I'm still very menopausal, and I've recently had some medical checkups and some health problems, and I've realised that I've got to come off my HRT, which I've been on for about 4 years, because when my menopause started, it was just... well, it just flattened me, really. I couldn't function at all, mentally or physically. It was just completely overwhelming for me. So I went on to HRT, but I've recently found out that it's caused me some problems, and I'm probably going to have to stop it. So at the moment, I'm trying to cut down the estrogen that I'm using, and my hot flushes are coming back. And with my hot flushes are coming back mood swings and tearfulness, and my sensitivity levels are through the roof. I'm struggling with a lot of things, and I know that my anxiety levels will start to grow the more that I have to cut back on the estrogen also. I'm having to take progesterone every day, and it doesn't agree with me. It makes me feel moody and grumpy, and it's just really not a very nice combination. And as I've said on my channel before, I'm in a new relationship, and it's just not easy, is it? Because a new relationship is quite triggering in its own way anyway, isn't it? You know, that there's lots of new things to cope with. There's lots of getting to know each other, having to talk things through, getting past certain things. It brings up all your old hang-ups, all your old insecurities. And so all of that has been quite overwhelming for me. To say the least, really. Excuse me. But I wanted to just show you these 4 cards here, because I just think this deck is amazing, really. And I do particularly like this Queen of Cups card here, because we can see this whale, and she's swum into or got caught up in this typhoon of water here that's like chaotically spinning, but yet she's maintaining her own sort of stability. She's maintaining her own balance within that. She's not getting tossed around. You know, she's not getting tossed around by the water, by the emotions. She's maintaining her own presence, her own balance, her own stability, and she's mastering that chaotic emotional energy. And that's something that's just been a constant theme of my life. It's something that I really struggle with, you know. In many ways, I am the Queen of Cups. I am what I would consider a highly sensitive person. I'm intuitive, I'm compassionate, I'm all of those things, but I can also at times be the darker side of the Queen of Cups, you know, and really struggle to maintain my own balance when my emotions are triggered by things. So yeah, but let me just read through these cards a little bit for you, because I just think they're brilliant. I really do. Let's just find them. I mean, this little one here at the end, the Page of Cups, this is a little butterfly fish, and I love this because this is really inner child stuff, isn't it? This little fish is down in amongst the corals, and it's like the nursery of the sea, isn't it? The nursery of the ocean. There might be a little bit more safety down here amongst the corals. And it's here that this little fish can play and learn and, you know, not have to think too hard about things, to just be free with their joy and their pleasure in life. And there's a real sort of sensitivity and vulnerability about this card, I think, that I really enjoy. And that's come up quite a few times for me, and it's helped to remind me really that I can be more playful with my emotions, that I don't have to be so scared of them all the time. And the Knight of Cups here, we've got a manta ray, haven't we? And in the book it says the progress of the manta ray across the waters of the ocean looks like a flight, and in his form the imaginary air and marine nature come together in beauty and elegance. The fluctuations of the manta ray underlines the gait of the Knight of Cups, which does not move on this earth, but advances and gets lost along the way to the heart, the ideals and the world that can be, rather than to what is already there. In this landscape, allow feelings to guide you, fall in love with things that you believe in, and keep your ideals fixed on the waves of destiny. That's just beautiful, isn't it? With the Queen of Cups, as I said, it says here, an extraordinary tornado leads into the abyss of the ocean, and a beluga whale goes with the flow, almost as if it were the very centre from which the whirlpool originated. She is the Queen of Cups, mistress of primordial feelings, spiritual healing and compassion. The ocean where it ventures is the soul. The Queen is not afraid of this turmoil. Her landscape reminds us that healing is welcoming, without judgment, and recognising your own anxieties in others. The most difficult fears concern affectivity, which is mood. The Queen is the best advisor, removing nothing and letting everything flow without overwhelming anything. And in her positive light, this is compassion and healing, and in its negative, this is emotional dependence. And as I said, this is a card that is always kind of triggering for me. You know, I was listening to a song the other day by Luther Vandross, and one of the lyrics in it was something like having feelings deep enough to swim in. And I really do. My feelings, my emotional state is you know, my ascendant is Scorpio in my astrology, and I do definitely have feelings deep enough to swim in, but I'm uncomfortable with them a lot of the time. And I feel like they control me rather than the other way round. And partly that's hormones sometimes, partly that's my sensory overload and my emotional dysregulation with autism. Sometimes it's to do with my sensitivities. It's all kind of things, but it's something that I struggle with often. And while I'm very happy in my relationship currently, it is challenging for me. And, you know, sometimes I have thoughts in my head like it would just be easier to be alone, because my emotions are not triggered then. It's really as simple as that. So yeah, and as I said, this card has come up so much. It's really helped to keep me focused really on reassuring myself, I suppose, that I'm okay and that I can be like this whale. I can let it all go on around me, and I can maintain my own kind of emotional independence within it, that I don't have to be tossed around without any control over anything, I suppose. And then we get into the King of Cups, and actually this one has not come up at all in any of my readings. I've had the Page of Cups a lot, the Queen of Cups a lot, the Knight of Cups once or twice, but not the King of Cups. And I just think this being an octopus is a fantastic choice, because they're like the masters of the ocean, aren't they? They just, you know, they're just absolutely amazing creatures, aren't they? They're so adaptable and clever. Do you know what I mean? And it says here in the book, a giant octopus moves through the ocean. From the water he learns fluidity, adaptability, and how to creatively solve problems. He is a master of camouflage and can stretch his many agile, flexible arms everywhere. The giant octopus symbolises intelligence in the service of love, of harmony between all living things within a system. He is the King of Cups, who welcomes and manages emotional conditions, transforming doubts into opportunities for growth. The King puts himself aside for the greater good, so take his advice. And positively, this is a counsellor or a psychic balance, and negatively, manipulation and personal interests. So I think really out of these cards, I'm aspiring towards the King of Cups. I'm aspiring towards that fluidity and that adaptability, and to not fear my emotional state, and to not fear that it's greater than me, that I can't control it. I would much like to be like the Queen of Cups or the King of Cups, and to be the kind of centre from which the whirlpool originates, rather than being tossed around on the fringes of it. So yeah, so I think that's probably all I want to say really for this video. I just wanted to share with you some of my insights about these cards and show what I've been working with this month and where I'm at in myself. And yeah, I think that's probably about it. For May, I'm going to continue to work with my nature-based decks. I've still got several tarot and oracle decks to work my way through, like the Druid Plant Oracle and the Nature Spirit Tarot. And so yeah, I'll be doing that. My card for May, let me just have a look. What did I pull for May in my year ahead reading? I pulled the Strength card, and I've written here, I drew this in the full moon reading. This is about digging deep, finding courage, trusting, taking control of my inner world and releasing fear. So it's a good card, isn't it, to follow on from the Three of Swords that I had in April, and from all of this emotional energy that I've got here. I think I shall probably change up my tarot deck and have a look at something different and see how it goes. Yeah, so I think that really is about it. I've not been reading very much this month. Certainly nothing serious or heavy. I'm listening to an audio book at the moment from Bill Bryson, who I love, which is Notes from a Small Island, just because it's easy, light-hearted, and I just love the idiosyncrasies and the quirks, I suppose, of his observations of the British people in that book. So yeah, I've been listening to that, but I've certainly not been reading anything heavy going or serious, and all I've been watching on the TV has been escapism type stuff as well. It's all been very light-hearted, a lot of comedies. Yeah, and I'm just kind of going with it at the moment because I think that that's what I need to do. I'm kind of overwhelmed with the changes in my life at the moment, and they're obviously not bad changes, but I don't cope well with change, and so I'm trying to sort of keep things simple, I suppose, at the moment. I'll hopefully be back with some more videos through the month, and at the end of the month, or for June, I plan to work with my animal decks, and that might well be through June and July. I'm going to get all my animal decks out and show you those and work with those. But I think for the time being, that's probably everything. So I hope everybody's well and everybody's doing okay and enjoying the better weather. And I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.